did a show at the Mercury Lounge yesterday. Is that right?
Yeah. Last night, just kind of as a pre-celebration for the record, I got some records shipped to me early so I could give them to friends and sell a few. And it was nice.
And how did the show go?
It went great. It's weird because Mercury, a lot of places in like a lot of the independent spots are trying to stay afloat because the New York landlords. And so a lot of the places like Mercury does 2 full-on shows in a night. So there's either like the early show or the late show. There's not like the golden hour show.
Right.
And last time I did the super late show, which was too late for everyone. It's a great show, but everyone's like, I'm so tired. So this time I'm like, I'll do the early show, not realizing that early was like doors at 6. And so everyone's like in New York. So it was kind of like, it was a great show. And I was like, a lot of people came out, but I was in shock. I was like, wow, I got New Yorkers to come out at like 6:30 at night. It's like, come on, Mercury. I get it. I love you. You're trying to stay afloat, but man, like I really wish that they just could keep it to one show because really like.
So you got a visitor. I believe you have several dogs, right?
Yes, 3. That's Roger.
Hey, Roger.
If you hear snorts or bark, like I hate to say bark. If you hear snorts, farts, burps, barfs, that's him.
Okay, it's not you.
Not me.
Very good.
If it's me, I'll blame it on him. So.
That's what he's there for. Excellent.
It's him.
So did you have a full band? And I mean, what during the show at Mercury?
Yeah. Actually, I just got a new keyboard player. I haven't had a keyboardist in several years.
Right.
And she's doing background vocals too.
Right.
Which has been like essential. Like I've missed that for so long. And so she's incredible. It was her first night last night and she killed it. Mm-hmm. And then my best friend, sometimes she's a musician too. So sometimes she'll sing background for me and then I'll do a favor for her and like sing background on her shows. Right. So she came and did it. And then another friend hopped up and then had the full like bass, guitar, drums.
Right. Cool. Was it the first show in a while for you with COVID and record and all that stuff?
Yeah, I did one, just a really short set at Warsaw with Czarface because I've done a lot of work with them. So they played and I did a show with them in December, everything, but I had just had COVID, so I wasn't afraid to play a show because I was I got all my antibodies. And then I played like right at the beginning of November, and so I've been trying to play less around here because it's so easy. I mean, you just mentioned you lived here, so it's easy to just New York's so big that you can feel like you're touring and just playing like different neighborhoods.
Yep.
Well, yeah, you spread out. So now I'm trying to do less and tour a little more in pockets and then play another big show here and go back out. So
are you in Brooklyn?
Yep, I'm in North Greenpoint.
Very good. I think I went to a show at the Brooklyn bowling alley there once.
Oh yeah, that place is great.
Yeah, it's very
Love
cool.
it there.
Anyway, so 9 Lives is coming out on the 18th. You say you got some vinyl already in hand, so that's got to be pretty exciting. So tell me what, because it's been a while since you've had a full LP out. You've done some other things, and we can talk about that. But tell me what brought you to the point of making this record.
It's weird because I'm always constantly like I feel like I always need to be creative, always working on stuff. I need an outlet. As an artist, like of different facets, and music being my main thing, I constantly need to be writing. I constantly need to be in a studio. It feels weird to not be. I've just done it so regular that I don't even that it's just to not do it isn't a thing. I'm always doing it. And with 9 Lives, I had been really like with Jeremy, who did the record with me, we created some good habits from working together for so long, and it's to go to his studio in Bushwick every week for a couple days, and whether there's something to write about, whether we have an idea or not, it's just to go there and work on something and sit there for it's usually about 3 or 4 hours. And so after Banshee, it was basically constantly going back over there or writing sometimes at home. It's my, it's just, it's like my therapy, you know,
Right.
and I just had, you know, started building this album, not even realizing it. And it's funny, like listening back to the record, it all, and the way those songs came out and the way they're on there, it all makes sense. Like it feels like so many, because like Got Me Down. Have you heard did you happen to get to hear the
I
full
heard
record?
most of it.
Okay.
The link that I got was expired, so I just was able to
Shoot.
find all the stuff that was online and whatever, but I've got a pretty good idea what we're talking about, so that's all right.
Oh, cool. I can send it to you. I
That
can
would be
send it
great.
to
Yeah, yeah.
you. But one of the tracks called Got Me Down is like one that is the oldest and wound up making the record. And that one was actually when I put that on there, that's the one that really made it the full 9 lives, because that song was written so
Right.
long ago. And then there's stuff like that is so new, like the ending track to the record is called Drag Me Down. And that song was written right during COVID as we were things started opening up again.
Right.
And I remember feeling a feeling of like anxiety to go out again.
Yeah.
And like how just being inside, I didn't know how to I didn't want to go out. I was so used to just not be, you know, that feeling of just like, well, I don't want to go out. Like I found my comfort of just not leaving the walls, not.
Yep. I think it's kind of like that here in New Zealand. We've had a very good luck, or not luck, but not many deaths like as compared to the rest of the world, but we're still in lockdown. We're expecting Omicron to take over, and nothing is happening. It's like a ghost town out here, you know. And I went to a show last week, and like nobody was there. You know? They were just
you just don't even you know. I think here, because everybody got Omicron here, that everybody's out again. Like
right.
Nobody, everyone's back. It feels like but when Omicron happened, like nothing, and before, and like everyone was scared. So yeah, it's just like a weird social anxiety. And this record like really like I was just talking to someone and they're like, did you feel like you wrote the album almost in flurries? And I was like, yes, exactly, because there's a group of songs on the album that it was like boom boom boom. I was really in a moment, really in the middle of something. So it was like they were just firing off. And now when I hear the album, I'm like, wow, this really is like 9 lives. Like there's things I can listen to a song and know exactly where it was. And there's so much growth as a vocalist and as a writer. And even with Jeremy, like I feel like the album is exactly what I would have hoped for a proper follow-up to Banshee. It's like I feel like I grew up in so many ways.
I think somewhere there was a quote where you kind of refer to it as your next level of adulthood.
I guess I have to agree with myself on that quote. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good idea.
I'm probably the least adulty of any of my friends. Like they're all like, "You're in 4th grade, Kendra," but I'm like, then this is my 5th grade record. 5th graders know everything.
Now, I think the most recent thing that's been released is Penny Pincher, which just came out. So sounds like a very personal song, and you know, heartfelt ballad and stuff. So tell me a little bit about that one.
Baby, come on, yeah. Baby, come on. Baby, come on, yeah. Baby, come on. Baby, come on, it's almost time. Everything's okay. Everything's fine. I'm smiling okay. The truth is I'm losing it inside.
Penny Pincher, Penny Pincher was just I use my writing to get through things, and that was a song, a really delicate, vulnerable moment, and just needing to write through some stuff. And I feel like for music to resonate for myself and hopefully with others is to be truly honest in a song. And sometimes it's like it sucks to get to that honest point, but it's doing yourself a disservice to be dishonest in music, because it is truly it's a universal language. Like music is understood by every single walk of life, and you don't need to have words. Sometimes it's through just one note. And so with that song, I just really needed to just let my vulnerabilities out, and in that moment. And I just remember even when it came time to like figuring out the production, and we were going back and forth, and Jeremy added all this stuff, and I was like, no, like it just needs like a guitar strum. It doesn't need, and like it needs these background vocals to cradle it. And like it was kind of a back and forth, and I'm so happy that it came out the way it did. And I'm so happy that I can go back and listen to that song, and to be in a different place than when I wrote that, and appreciate the honesty I had. Because also it's something that the thing I try to really like when I write think about is that, and in Who We Are, which I'm pretty sure you've heard because that one's out.
Yep.
That song, like a lot of the stuff that I think about, I'm always like, I'm a goofball, but I'm also always very introspective, and I'm thinking about people and humans and how we all work together and how we don't. But with music, I really, and with just the world, I really like to think about how like the human condition, like we are so connected, even though in so many ways it feels we're disconnected. We are so connected. Like sure, everybody puts up the facade they want on the internet right now, sure, but really like we're all going through, like everybody goes through a penny pincher situation. Like, yep. And when I hear a song that resonates with me, it's because something that I'm like, I'm in that, or I know that feeling. And I'm so glad that someone else had that feeling, because it's easy to think, what's wrong with me? Like, why, it's like we're programmed to think we're alone, but we're not.
Yep. Now you mentioned 9 Lives video has just been released, and I know you're involved in visual arts and filmmaking and animation and all that stuff. So with that in mind, tell me about the video and the making and your ideas about presenting yourself visually.
Some days I just wanna be lonely, lay in my bed and cry. At times so sweet, just like a candy, melt in the mouth, but I'm sour inside. This mood, it swings away.
Well, that was so much fun, because when we decided that was going to be a single for the record, immediately I'm always like listening to songs and being like, where do I go visually? Like I love thinking of concepts, and then my stinking brain, I always come up with some crazy concept where I'm like, don't think about that's gonna be crazy, then you're gonna have to do it. And I remember like with 9 Lives, because that song is, it's kind of like hovers over the whole record. It's the theme of the whole album.
Yeah.
And I was like, kept thinking of like I've always written music in and thought of colors. Sometimes like a song feels like color, but also I feel like I just kept seeing myself as these colors, and these colors representing the different versions of yourself. Because we have our day-to-day lives, like where there's different versions of us. Then we have like our years of lifetimes. And for this song, I was like, I want to tell the story of this song through color and not using computer effects. Like I really love when you create a project with a group of people and you just find ways to I love just doing it yourself. Don't rely on technology, rely on your brain, because that's how we learned to make electricity and airplanes fly. Like we don't need the computers that are doing everything. And I knew I've done my share of like directing, and I do animation, and this time I have a new friend that I through fate made like randomly, and she's an amazing photographer, and she's really quirky, has this great eye. And I knew I didn't know if I had the energy to direct myself, but I wanted to get behind on like making this video happen. So I was like, I approached her with the song and the concept, and she'd been wanting, she's a fairly like well-known photographer, and she'd been wanting to get into directing. So I was like, hey, you want to do this? And so she was into the idea. It was weird enough for her to, and I produced it, she directed it, and we just like teamed up, and it was so fun. Like I had fun like making, like getting everything together, getting the makeup artist, stealing a grocery cart for a day, like, you know, and helping to make, like getting the concept from here to here, and then also not having to worry about directing myself or so it was fun, and we did it. And that was like that, we did it in the middle of Omicron. We were supposed to shoot it at Thanksgiving around then, and I got COVID. So we had to push everything back. And then we started shooting it. Then right after we shot it, everyone else in the world got COVID. And it was just so many hurdles, but it's like we made it happen. And I think my skin has fallen off since then, like all that makeup. No, not
And so her name is Sari. I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
Sarai Marie.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. She's great. Yeah, she's a Japanese photographer here in New York. She's lived here for a long time, and she's great. She's done a lot of work with Vogue, a lot of just really cool art and fashion magazines, and has shown at some galleries here. I met her roller skating. She shot a picture of me roller skating. I didn't know it. Yeah. And then later that summer, a friend was bike riding, and he found a bunch of wheat pasted posters of me all over Kent Avenue in Williamsburg. He's like, "Is this you?" Because I had my mask on in the picture. I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." And I was like Googling, and she had a book. Actually, the book's right here.
Okay.
This was about to come out, and she took the picture and didn't know who I was, and had been looking for me so she could put her book out.
Sure.
So I messaged her, and I was like, "Hey, that's me." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, my book comes out. Can you have your permission?" I was like, "Yeah, like let's hang out." We went and got a drink, and then after that, we started. I'm in the next Kangol campaign, roller skating,
right?
And then I just helped her do a Kangol campaign, doing collage and animation. So it's cool. We've just both been. Like we've just been doing projects together, and that's what I love about New York. That's why I think New York is so special.
Yeah. So you do a lot of skating, roller skating, skateboarding. What?
Roller skating. My best friend is really, really good at it, and I learned it from her. I'm decent. Like I just got new wheels. I'm okay, but she's the one that's like doing the tricks, and everyone wants to skate with her, and I'm like this. Just skating around in circles, but I love it. Like it's just a fun thing. And me and a bunch of musicians, we have a skate club on Wednesday nights.
Okay.
So we go out to Bed-Stuy, and now there's we keep growing, and we go and we just roller skate for like 2 hours at this old like school gymnasium, and then we go out for drinks and cake and talk about music.
So now I understand your next level of adulthood comment, because
you're
still working to get there, I think. That's fantastic. And you worked with Dennis Coffey at one point in your past, didn't you?
Yeah.
I love all that stuff. I've got a big record collection in the background here. And so I just had to ask you, because I know I have all those old records from the 70s and stuff. So what was that like? What was he like working with?
Man, it was really surreal, because when I worked with him, I knew I met DJ Premier right around the time when I got picked up to do the job to go tour with Dennis Coffey. And I remember that was kind of the thing that connected me with Premier. Like I'd met him kind of randomly after a show. And I remember saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go out with Dennis Coffey." And then he was like, "Dennis Coffey?" Because Dennis Coffey is the most sampled guitarist in hip hop.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody, he came up with that sound.
Yep.
Like he's on the Temptations, he's on the Five. You name it, you name it, he's on it. He's on.
And of course, all his hits were instrumental, so easy to sample.
Yeah, all like Scorpio and
Scorpio. Yeah.
When I toured with him, it was kind of like mind-boggling, because he was really quiet. He'd sit in the front seat, and he was dealing with me and like the the band that, you know, we were all his like support for his tour. And we were like, you know, making poop jokes in the back. We were like, you name it. And poor Dennis, he's sitting in the front like grandpa, like, and then sometimes he'd have these moments where he would just suddenly like say something kind of funny, and you'd be like he was just so sweet. Or like he'd suddenly, like, I remember we were somewhere for a live studio session, and he starts talking about Stevie Wonder when when Stevie Wonder was 15, and he played on some sessions with him, and he would tell us some sort of fact where I was like, what? And then to know that I'm hanging out with this guy who was just such a huge part of music now, and of the way, and like I remember him saying, yeah, Stevie Wonder, like he would come up and hum out all the parts to the entire band. He would come and just like to the horn section, like for him to, when I heard that, like the one thing of knowing that Dennis Coffey was like part of that, that was when it hit me. And then also like so much inspiration in hearing that, like, because I play guitar, I'm not technical, and I don't lead my band. Like you won't, you know, you'll see me if you ever see me play guitar, usually it's a live stream or something. But it's easy to like as a musician sometimes to be hard on yourself because everybody's so good at other things, and when you're fronting your band, you're like, oh, I can't do that. But it's okay. Like if you hear it, like there's ways, like Stevie Wonder hummed it out. Like if you hear it in your head, you'll find a way to get it out if you really want to.
Cool. So with this record coming out on the 18th, you and all this other stuff that you do, the animation and the filmmaking, is it tough for you to focus on one thing, or have you made any kind of change in the life, in the way you're looking at your career, quote unquote? Or
now, it's funny, I feel like everything goes in pockets, and right now I'm like have not, but like if I'm working on animation stuff or art stuff, usually that's when there's like downtime of this, you know. Right now I'm in like album world, so it's been like shows, you know, doing interviews, like trying to like write for another, you know, I want to write a next record because I don't want to slow down. So it's been really like been in that right now. But I know I do have a video to do for someone in a few months, so then I'm like, okay, I got to carve out the time to give them something that they're gonna, because if I make a commitment to someone, I really like want to do for them what someone would do for me, and give them something that they're excited about. So I've been actually thinking like, okay, with the animation, I really have to make sure that there's like time, because suddenly I'm like in like a dark room for a week, not showered, and like
And were you influenced by anybody in animating wise?
No, it's funny because a lot of people compare like my collage animation to old Terry Gilliam stuff.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I've always like loved his stuff. But what's cool is like I've just always, even with, I've never like called myself, I'm a this kind of artist, or I'm just like, I just tell people I like to make things. I like to like take what's here, and if it comes out of my voice, or if it comes out on a piece of paper, or if it comes out through a video, like I feel like all those things work together. And like for so long, everyone's like, what are you? Are you a this or are you this? And they scratch each other's back. Like the whole reason I even got into like making videos was because I made them for myself when there was I didn't always have a budget from a label for a video, and I wanted to put visuals. So that's how I started making videos for myself. And then, you know, I've never been, there's different kind, like there's the kind of artists where they'll be making things all the time, but don't show anybody. It's never good enough. So they keep it. And I'm working on this and this and this, but they never ever show anyone because it's never good enough. And then there's other kinds of artists that are always making, and it's not good enough what they show people, because and that's me. Like I just throw it all over, and I'm like, I'm making this here, and like I because for me, I've always appreciated watching. I love mistakes. I love messes. you can't see my whole apartment right now, but I have messes everywhere.
I'm sure. We all have our messes.
Good angle. But I like that about a great for me, a great vocalist is not a perfect vocalist, but they are using their tool and being, expressing. And I like that about art too. And that's kind of that's just how I am. Like I used to record on like an 8-track in my closet.
Right.
Just track like layer vocals, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I found the 8-track over on like Rivington Street, and I figured a way to start posting them on MySpace. Back on MySpace days, I'd be like, I was like, share this. And then I remember like I ended up syncing one of these songs to an MTV show randomly, and that was like back before even syncs was like, I didn't make any money from it. Like now I probably, but I remember that was the first time where I realized that there's no such thing as mistakes. There's no such thing as if you say, this is the way I'm doing it, this is right, and you're true to yourself and your art form, it is right. It doesn't matter what if a critic can say, you suck, your album sucks, but it's in the eye. It's just like beauty. It's in the eye of the beholder,
Yep. Excellent. Well, thank you for that. What are you going to do on the 18th? You got anything planned, the release day?
No, I'm actually going to be in Florida. I'm going to go see my family. So I'll probably like go to a thrift store with my mom. And
there you go. You've done the opposite. My family all moved from upstate New York to Florida, which is, what happens.
Right.
You've gone the reverse, which is probably a wise move, if you ask me.
My mom saying, when are you coming back? She gave up on asking me that, but I'm going to just go down there and sort of decompress.
Yeah, that's a good place to decompress, but it's much more interesting in New York, I think. So wise move. Hey, all righty. Well, thank you very much for spending time talking with me. I'm glad we got this together. Excellent.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much. It was really great talking to you.
You come down to New Zealand whenever you feel like it.
Oh, I definitely will.
All right. See ya.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.